Burkina Faso is no longer a victim of foreign exploitation. In a groundbreaking move, the country is taking control of its gold and its future. With the first locally produced gold bars, President Traoré is showing the world that Africa is rising. This is more than just a revolution, it's the rebirth of a nation fighting for its sovereignty. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. In the heart of Africa, amidst the powerful countries that have long controlled its resources, one nation has finally risen, defying the chains of colonialism. Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, is shaking the foundations of old systems and taking back what's rightfully theirs, their resources, their sovereignty, and their future. For decades, foreign powers have exploited African nations, draining them of their wealth, leaving the people to struggle. But now, in a groundbreaking move that will send shockwaves across the continent, Burkina Faso is no longer a pawn in a game played by foreign interests. This nation is reclaiming its independence, not just in terms of military power, but economically as well. In a stunning series of events, President Traoré has turned the tables, and his latest achievement is nothing short of revolutionary. Burkina Faso has produced its first locally made gold bars, gold that was once extracted and taken out of the country by foreign companies without any significant return for the local economy. Now, these bars represent far more than just a precious metal. They symbolize the sovereignty of a country that has fought for years to break free from the clutches of foreign influence. And this is only the beginning. What President Traoré has achieved is monumental, not just for Burkina Faso but for the entire African continent. For the first time in history, this landlocked country, once reliant on foreign corporations and countries for its wealth, is taking full control of its resources. Burkina Faso is not just producing gold, it is reasserting its economic and political power. The message is loud and clear: Africa is no longer willing to let its resources be exploited for the benefit of others. This is a pivotal moment in history, and it's happening right now. Stay tuned as we break down how Burkina Faso's bold steps are reshaping the future of the continent, and how President Traoré's vision is inspiring a new wave of self-reliance, independence, and pride. We'll show you how this small but powerful nation is setting the stage for a much larger revolution, a revolution that is focused on taking back Africa's wealth, control, and dignity. If you've been following Ibrahim Traoré's rise to power, you know he's always had one goal in mind: true independence. And today, that dream is becoming a reality. This isn't just about gold, this is about breaking free from decades of economic and political control by outside powers. This is about standing tall and claiming what's theirs, no longer letting foreign forces dictate their future. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk you through the incredible journey that led to this historic moment and explore what it means for Burkina Faso and the entire African continent. Get ready to witness the rise of a nation that refuses to be held back any longer. This is a revolution, and it's just getting started. From the very beginning, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has been committed to one thing: placing Burkina Faso on the path to self-sufficiency. This is a country that has long been plagued by colonial legacies, with foreign nations and corporations extracting its resources without giving back to the people. But under Traoré's leadership, that's all changed. In just a few short years, he's made enormous strides toward reclaiming the country's wealth and resources. It all started with the bold decision to expel French military forces, cutting ties with a colonial power that had long kept Burkina Faso under its thumb. This was just the first step in a series of strategic moves that would eventually lead to the establishment of a truly independent Burkina Faso. The next logical step? Taking full control of the country's most valuable resource, gold. For too long, Burkina Faso's gold reserves had been under the control of foreign companies, with very little benefit to the local economy. The gold was mined, processed, and exported by companies with no regard for the people or the nation. But President Traoré wasn't willing to let that continue. In a move that shocked the world, he established the Burkina Gold Factory, making Burkina Faso the first African country to produce its own gold bars. The factory wasn't just a symbol of self-reliance, it was the first step toward true economic independence. And it's been incredibly successful. Just last month, Burkina Faso celebrated the completion of its first batch of locally produced gold bars. These aren't just ordinary gold bars, they are a symbol of everything Burkina Faso has worked for. The process to produce these bars was developed and executed entirely within the country, and the factory is fully operational. The gold that was once sent abroad for processing is now being refined and produced right in the heart of Burkina Faso. This marks a new chapter in the country's history, one where it no longer has to rely on foreign powers to process and profit from its natural resources. The gold that Burkina Faso produces will now stay within the country, contributing to the national economy and strengthening the nation's financial sovereignty. This is a major step in the right direction, and it's only the beginning. Over the next few months, the Burkinabe government plans to expand the factory's operations, further solidifying the country's control over its gold resources. This move also sets the stage for other African nations to follow suit, creating their own industries to process and refine the wealth they've long been exploited for. As we dive deeper into the story, we'll show you how this bold move by President Traoré is reshaping the future of the entire continent. It's a story of empowerment, independence, and self-sufficiency. And it's one that's just getting started. Stay with us as we break down how this groundbreaking achievement is sparking a revolution in Africa and changing the course of history. This introduction sets the tone for the rest of the video by highlighting the shocking nature of the move by Burkina Faso and establishing it as a symbol of change and empowerment. It emphasizes the importance of the gold factory and how it's part of a broader strategy for the country's economic and political independence. The script focuses on capturing the viewer's attention with bold, impactful statements while laying the foundation for the deeper dive into Burkina Faso's revolutionary steps towards reclaiming its wealth. Burkina Faso's journey to economic independence took a monumental leap forward last month with the country's first batch of locally produced gold bars. This is no small feat. For years, Burkina Faso has been one of the top gold-producing countries in Africa, but the wealth generated from this precious resource was never truly benefiting the nation. Gold was extracted by foreign companies, processed abroad, and sold for a fraction of its true value. Meanwhile, the people of Burkina Faso remained disconnected from the wealth that their land produced. But all of that has changed. President Ibrahim Traoré, in his bold vision for an independent and self-sufficient Burkina Faso, established the Burkinabe Gold Factory. The creation of this factory isn't just an industrial achievement, it is a symbol of a new era. An era where Burkina Faso no longer relies on foreign companies to refine its natural resources. This factory, which now produces gold bars within the borders of the country, is the key to ensuring that Burkina Faso's wealth stays where it belongs, within its own economy. These gold bars, each carrying the official seal of Burkina Faso, are more than just precious metals, they represent the country's newfound sovereignty over its resources. For the first time in history, the nation has taken full control over its gold supply chain. From extraction to processing, Burkina Faso is no longer at the mercy of foreign powers. The impact of this achievement goes beyond economics. It is a powerful statement to the rest of Africa and the world. Burkina Faso is no longer willing to be exploited for its resources. It's standing up, taking control, and saying, "This is our wealth, and we will control it." The success of the Burkinabe Gold Factory is just the beginning. With the factory now fully operational, the country plans to expand its production in the coming months, producing even more gold bars. This is a clear message to the rest of the world that Burkina Faso is on the rise. And it's not just about gold. It's about building a self-sustaining economy that can stand on its own, free from the influence of external forces. President Traoré's bold decision to keep the gold within the country instead of exporting it is part of a broader strategy to strengthen Burkina Faso's economy. By refining its own gold, the country is ensuring that the wealth generated stays in the national treasury, where it can be used to fund development projects, create jobs, and improve the standard of living for the people. This isn't just about economic growth, it's about creating a sustainable future for Burkina Faso. For too long, African nations have been exploited for their resources, with the wealth flowing out of the continent and leaving the people to fend for themselves. But now, President Traoré is proving that it doesn't have to be that way. Burkina Faso is taking charge of its own destiny, and this gold revolution is just the first step in a long journey toward economic self-sufficiency. As the country continues to refine and produce more gold, it will build a foundation of financial security that will allow it to invest in its people, its infrastructure, and its future. The implications of this gold revolution are far-reaching. Burkina Faso's success in taking control of its gold resources serves as a model for other African nations to follow. If Burkina Faso, with its limited resources and history of colonization, can reclaim its wealth and sovereignty, then there's hope for the entire continent. This isn't just about Burkina Faso, it's about empowering Africa as a whole to take control of its own resources and build a future where the wealth of the continent stays in the hands of its people. The Burkinabe gold revolution is setting the stage for a new era in Africa. And the world is watching. What does the future hold for Burkina Faso? With President Traoré at the helm, the possibilities are endless. The country is on the path to becoming a major player on the global stage, and it's doing so on its own terms. As we continue this journey, we'll explore how Burkina Faso's bold moves are not just changing the game for the nation but for all of Africa. The gold revolution is just the beginning. President Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso is one of total independence, and the first locally produced gold bars are a testament to this vision. But this is more than just about gold. It's about reclaiming the sovereignty of an entire nation. As we move forward in this video, we'll dive deeper into the specifics of how this move is transforming Burkina Faso and how it's positioning itself as a leader in Africa's fight for economic independence. From creating jobs to strengthening the national economy, Burkina Faso's gold revolution is sending a message to the world: the continent's resources are no longer up for grabs. They belong to the people, and it's time for Africa to take back control. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré took office, he inherited a country burdened by the long shadows of colonial influence, where foreign powers dictated not just the political landscape but the economic fate of the nation. Burkina Faso, like many other African countries, was trapped in a cycle of dependence, where its natural resources were exploited by foreign corporations, and the wealth generated from these resources flowed out of the country, leaving the local population with little benefit. But Traoré had a different vision, a vision of complete sovereignty for his nation, free from the shackles of colonial-era dependencies. He knew that to truly reclaim Burkina Faso's future, the country would have to control its own resources, its economy, and its destiny. And that's exactly what he set out to do. One of his first moves was to expel French military forces from the country, a bold and symbolic step that sent a clear message: Burkina Faso was no longer willing to remain under the influence of its former colonial master. But Traoré's plan didn't stop at military independence. He understood that true sovereignty meant controlling the country's most valuable assets, its resources. Gold, the country's most significant natural resource, had been mined by foreign companies for decades, with little regard for the local economy or the people who lived above the gold-rich land. The wealth generated by gold mining was siphoned off to foreign banks, while Burkina Faso saw little in return. But that's changing now. President Traoré's decision to establish a locally run gold factory is a pivotal moment in the nation's history. By taking control of the gold production process, Burkina Faso is no longer dependent on foreign companies for refining or profit. This move is not just an economic victory, it's a declaration of independence. It's a declaration that Burkina Faso is ready to stand on its own, take charge of its future, and create a legacy of self-reliance for future generations. The gold factory is not just a symbol of self-sufficiency, it's a beacon of hope for other African nations that are still struggling to break free from the grips of foreign exploitation. President Traoré's bold actions are showing the world that Africa can control its own destiny. The local production of gold bars is a testament to the country's ability to master its resources, refine them domestically, and keep the profits within its borders. This is the kind of economic empowerment that can transform a nation, and Burkina Faso is proving that it's possible. The gold bars produced by the Burkina Faso gold factory are just the beginning. President Traoré's ultimate goal is to create a sustainable, self-sufficient economy, one that no longer relies on foreign aid or foreign-controlled industries. The factory is already a source of national pride, and it is creating jobs, boosting the local economy, and contributing to the country's long-term financial security. But the gold factory is just one part of Traoré's broader strategy to reassert the country's sovereignty. Beyond the economic implications, his actions are aimed at reshaping the political landscape of Burkina Faso, ensuring that the country can stand on its own and be free from external influence. The establishment of the factory is just one chapter in a larger story of national transformation. President Traoré has also focused on strengthening the country's infrastructure, developing new industries, and creating opportunities for the people. He knows that true independence means more than just controlling resources. It means creating a country where the people have the tools they need to thrive. For the first time, Burkina Faso is charting its own course, free from the constraints of colonial history. And this independence is not just symbolic, it's real, tangible, and powerful. The gold revolution is just one part of this larger transformation. As President Traoré continues to push for greater self-sufficiency, he is also leading the charge to make Burkina Faso a leader in Africa's quest for economic independence. The world is watching, and Burkina Faso is showing the way. As we move further into this video, we'll see how President Traoré's vision is unfolding in real time, and how his bold actions are shaping the future of the country. The rise of Burkina Faso is not just about one man or one gold factory, it's about the emergence of an entire nation, reclaiming its resources, its economy, and its place on the global stage. The gold revolution is a testament to the power of sovereignty, and it's only the beginning. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into how Burkina Faso's transformation is setting the stage for a new era of African independence. The world is changing, and Burkina Faso is leading the charge. Burkina Faso's push for economic independence isn't just a political maneuver, it's rooted in technological advancement and self-reliance. In January 2024, another landmark was reached, the opening of the country's first mining waste processing plant. This facility isn't just a testament to Burkina Faso's ingenuity, it's a key part of the country's broader strategy to take full control over its resources. What's so remarkable about this plant? It's the first of its kind in Africa, developed entirely with local expertise and technology. The fact that Burkina Faso was able to develop, construct, and now operate this facility entirely in-house shows a level of technological sophistication that many did not expect. For decades, African countries have been subjected to foreign technologies, often used to extract resources from the continent and send them abroad for processing. But now, under President Ibrahim Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso is flipping the script. This plant, located in the Kodo industrial zone just outside the capital, Ouagadougou, is designed to process mining residues, waste left behind from gold mining that still contains valuable materials. Fine coal, as it's called, is often discarded after the initial mining process, but now, thanks to Burkina Faso's new technology, it's being converted into a valuable resource. The plant's operation marks a significant shift in how the country handles its mining waste, turning what was once seen as refuse into something economically beneficial. This plant is not just about reducing waste, it's about creating a sustainable value chain. By processing these residues domestically, Burkina Faso is ensuring that even the most overlooked materials contribute to the country's economic growth. And the technology behind the plant wasn't imported from abroad, it was designed and built by Burkinabe engineers, scientists, and technicians. This is a major breakthrough, as it demonstrates the country's capacity to innovate and develop cutting-edge technology without relying on foreign aid or expertise. This plant isn't just a single isolated achievement, it represents a broader shift toward a self-sustaining, technology-driven economy. For years, Burkina Faso's natural resources were being extracted and refined by foreign companies with little to no investment in the country's long-term development. But President Traoré is changing all that by fostering a local ecosystem of innovation, where technology is being developed and deployed by Burkinabe professionals. The implications of this are profound. First, it's creating jobs, not just in the mining industry but also in the tech sector, as local talent is tapped to build, operate, and improve these critical infrastructures. Second, it's providing Burkina Faso with the skills and knowledge necessary to continue advancing in industries like mining, manufacturing, and technology. And third, it's ensuring that the benefits of these industries stay within the country, driving local growth and development. The opening of the mining waste processing plant is just one example of how President Traoré's government is investing in technological self-sufficiency. It's a move that's setting the stage for more advancements in various sectors, from agriculture to manufacturing, and beyond. But the story doesn't end there. President Traoré has made it clear that he's committed to continuing this technological revolution. As Burkina Faso builds on its success with the mining waste processing plant, more industries will benefit from local innovation, reducing the need for foreign intervention and fostering homegrown expertise. The implications for the country's economy are huge. As the plant processes more mining waste and produces more valuable gold and minerals, it will generate greater income for the country, which can then be reinvested into infrastructure, healthcare, education, and other essential sectors. This isn't just about improving the gold industry, it's about creating a sustainable economic model that benefits all sectors of society. Furthermore, by establishing these technological advances domestically, Burkina Faso is positioning itself as a leader in Africa's economic transformation. This move is an example of how countries can harness their resources, both human and natural, to drive long-term growth and prosperity without relying on external powers. As we move forward, we'll explore how these technological innovations are not just benefiting Burkina Faso but are also setting a precedent for other African nations. The rise of Burkina Faso as a tech-savvy, self-sufficient nation is a powerful example of what's possible when a country takes control of its resources and invests in its future. Burkina Faso's success is a shining example of how Africa can build its future by focusing on innovation, technology, and self-reliance. The world is changing, and Burkina Faso is leading the charge in reshaping Africa's economic future. This is just the beginning, and the possibilities are endless. Stay with us as we dive deeper into how these technological advances are transforming not just Burkina Faso, but Africa as a whole. The road to independence and prosperity is paved with innovation, and Burkina Faso is showing the way. Burkina Faso's gold revolution is not just a matter of reclaiming valuable resources, it's about building a robust, self-sustaining economy that positions the country as a new economic powerhouse on the global stage. With the establishment of the Burkinabe Gold Factory, Burkina Faso is stepping into a new era, one where it no longer relies on foreign powers to process its gold or to benefit from its mineral wealth. The factory, which produces Burkina Faso's first locally made gold bars, is more than just an industrial facility, it's a cornerstone of a larger vision for the country's economic future. The impact of the factory goes far beyond its immediate production capacity. By refining gold domestically, Burkina Faso is not only increasing the value of its resources but also reducing the need to send raw gold abroad for processing. This decision is a game-changer for the country's economy. By keeping the entire production process within Burkina Faso, the government is ensuring that the wealth generated from its natural resources will stay within the country, fueling local industries, creating jobs, and improving the overall economy. But the Burkinabe Gold Factory is just one part of a much larger strategy. Burkina Faso is positioning itself as an economic leader not only within Africa but on the global stage. The country is no longer a passive player in the global economy, it is taking charge of its own economic destiny. The next step in this strategy is the establishment of the country's first gold refinery, a move that will further solidify Burkina Faso's position as a major player in the gold industry. With a daily production capacity of 400 kilograms of gold, the refinery will allow Burkina Faso to process its own gold and keep more of the profits within the country. This new facility will create hundreds of direct jobs and thousands of indirect jobs, providing a much-needed boost to the local economy. The refinery will also bring additional income to the country through the taxes and royalties it generates, further strengthening Burkina Faso's financial position. The creation of the refinery is part of a broader plan to ensure that Burkina Faso is no longer dependent on foreign countries for refining and processing its natural resources. It's about taking control of the entire value chain, from extraction to processing to export, so that the wealth generated from the country's resources stays within its borders. President Ibrahim Traoré's government has already implemented several key policies to support this vision. In addition to the establishment of the gold refinery, the government has introduced a new royalty system that taxes gold sales based on the price of gold, ensuring that the country receives a fair share of the profits generated by its resources. This is a crucial step in ensuring that Burkina Faso's gold wealth doesn't just benefit foreign companies and investors but also contributes to the country's long-term economic development. This move is part of a larger trend across Africa, where countries are increasingly looking to take control of their resources and reduce their reliance on foreign powers. Burkina Faso is leading the charge in this movement, showing the world that it's possible for African nations to take charge of their resources and build their own economic futures. But the economic revolution in Burkina Faso doesn't stop at gold. The country is also looking to diversify its economy, investing in other sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, and technology. By focusing on creating a well-rounded, diversified economy, Burkina Faso is positioning itself for long-term success. The wealth generated from gold will serve as the foundation for this broader economic strategy, providing the necessary capital to invest in other industries and create new opportunities for the people. In addition to creating jobs and boosting the economy, the gold revolution is also providing Burkina Faso with the financial independence it needs to invest in critical infrastructure, healthcare, and education. The money generated from the gold industry will be reinvested into the country, improving the quality of life for its citizens and providing the resources needed to build a stronger, more prosperous future. The rise of Burkina Faso as a new economic powerhouse is a shining example of what's possible when a country takes control of its resources and its destiny. By investing in local industries, creating jobs, and implementing policies that benefit the people, President Traoré is laying the groundwork for a brighter future for Burkina Faso. As we continue to follow the country's progress, we'll see how this bold vision is transforming not just Burkina Faso, but the entire African continent. The gold revolution is just the beginning, and the future looks bright for this rapidly emerging economic powerhouse. Burkina Faso's transformation is a testament to the power of self-reliance and economic independence, and it is a model for other nations to follow. The world is watching, and Burkina Faso is showing that with the right leadership and vision, anything is possible. For decades, Africa's natural resources have been exploited by foreign companies, leaving the continent's people with little to no benefits. Gold, oil, minerals, these wealth-generating resources have been extracted by foreign powers, and the wealth has flowed out of the continent, leaving Africa with little control over its own riches. But Burkina Faso, under the leadership of President Ibrahim Traoré, is changing that narrative. The country's groundbreaking steps to take control of its gold resources are not just about Burkina Faso, it's about the entire African continent. It's a statement to the world that Africa is no longer willing to be exploited for its wealth. The Burkinabe government's efforts to regain control over its gold industry is a shining example of what can be achieved when African nations take control of their resources. Burkina Faso's gold revolution is about much more than just producing gold, it's about asserting control over the country's wealth, ensuring that the benefits of this natural resource stay within the country, and using it as a springboard for broader economic and political independence. In the past, foreign corporations extracted vast quantities of gold from Burkina Faso, paying little in return to the country's economy. These corporations reaped the benefits, while the Burkinabe people saw little of the wealth generated by the gold beneath their feet. But now, through the establishment of the Burkinabe Gold Factory, Burkina Faso is turning the tables. The factory has allowed the country to refine and process its own gold domestically, ensuring that a significant portion of the wealth generated stays within its borders. The gold bars produced by the factory are not just valuable for their material worth, they represent the sovereignty of Burkina Faso. By refining and processing gold locally, Burkina Faso is reasserting its control over its resources and reclaiming the wealth that has long been taken from it. This move sets a precedent for other African nations to follow suit. Countries across the continent have long struggled with foreign companies extracting their resources without sufficient benefit to the local economy. But Burkina Faso is showing that it's possible to take back control and use these resources to fuel domestic development. The country's success in producing its own gold is an example of what can happen when African nations stand up to foreign exploitation and prioritize their own people. But it's not just about gold. The gold revolution in Burkina Faso is a stepping stone to broader economic and political independence. By ensuring that the country's gold stays within its borders, Burkina Faso is setting the foundation for a more self-sufficient and sustainable economy. The wealth generated from gold will be reinvested into the country, creating jobs, developing infrastructure, and strengthening the overall economy. This shift is not just about creating an economic powerhouse in Burkina Faso, it's about creating a model for other African nations to follow. As the continent begins to take control of its resources, the potential for growth and development is limitless. Burkina Faso's journey toward reclaiming its wealth is just the beginning of a larger movement across Africa. The gold revolution is only one piece of the puzzle, and it's part of a broader effort to empower African nations to stand on their own. This movement is about more than just economic growth, it's about creating a future where Africa's resources benefit the people, not foreign corporations. By reclaiming its wealth, Burkina Faso is laying the groundwork for a brighter future. And as the country continues to produce its own gold and refine it domestically, the economic benefits will continue to grow. The wealth generated from this resource will help build a more prosperous nation and create opportunities for the people. This is the true power of self-reliance, the ability to take control of one's own resources and use them to build a sustainable future. Burkina Faso is showing the world that African nations have the power to shape their own destinies. The story of Burkina Faso's gold revolution is not just a story about one country's fight for sovereignty. It's a story about the entire continent's fight to reclaim its wealth and take control of its future. The world is watching as Africa rises, and Burkina Faso is leading the charge. Burkina Faso's journey to reclaim its resources has been anything but easy. The country has faced immense challenges, from political instability to security threats posed by extremist groups and foreign interference. Yet, despite these obstacles, President Ibrahim Traoré has continued to push forward with his vision of a self-sufficient, sovereign Burkina Faso. The story of Burkina Faso is one of defiance, resilience, and determination. The country has long struggled with the exploitation of its natural resources, particularly gold, by foreign companies. But Traoré's leadership has been a turning point. He has taken bold steps to ensure that Burkina Faso no longer falls prey to foreign exploitation, and these moves have significantly altered the country's trajectory. One of the most pressing challenges that Burkina Faso faced in its quest for sovereignty was the presence of terrorist groups that had infiltrated the country's gold mining operations. These groups used the proceeds from illegal mining to fund their terrorist activities, destabilizing the region and fueling violence. In 2022, Burkina Faso saw a significant decline in gold production due to the closures of several industrial mines and the abandonment of hundreds of gold panning sites, all caused by the rise of these extremist groups. The security situation in the country was dire, and it seemed as though the dream of economic self-sufficiency was slipping away. But President Traoré refused to accept this fate. His response was decisive and strategic. He understood that in order to regain control of Burkina Faso's wealth, the country needed to take back its gold mines from the hands of terrorists and restore security to its mining regions. In response, President Traoré launched an aggressive military campaign aimed at dismantling the terrorist networks that had taken control of gold mines across the country. One such operation was carried out in the Djibwa Greenstone Belt in northern Burkina Faso, one of the country's most mineral-rich regions. This area had become a haven for terrorist groups, and their illegal mining operations were causing untold damage to the local population and the economy. The Burkinabe military, under Traoré's leadership, launched a comprehensive operation to reclaim control of the region. The operation was a massive success, as the military forces were able to push back the terrorists and restore order to the region. This operation marked a turning point for Burkina Faso, as it demonstrated the country's ability to fight back against extremist groups and regain control of its own resources. The successful military campaign in Djibwa was just one of several steps taken by the government to restore peace and security to the mining areas. The military's swift action was made possible by Traoré's focus on modernizing the country's defense capabilities. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso has invested in advanced military technology and training, ensuring that its forces are equipped to handle the challenges posed by terrorism and insurgency. The successful reclaiming of gold mines in northern Burkina Faso is a powerful symbol of the country's determination to regain control over its resources. It sends a strong message to foreign powers and extremist groups alike. Burkina Faso is no longer willing to allow its wealth to be stolen or used to fund terrorism. The gold that is mined in Burkina Faso now belongs to the people, and the government will stop at nothing to protect it. But this victory is just one part of a much larger story. The battle for Burkina Faso's gold is not only about fighting terrorism, it's also about securing the future of the nation's economy. By reclaiming control of its gold resources, Burkina Faso is ensuring that its natural wealth can be used to fuel its economic development and self-sufficiency. With the government now firmly in control of its gold mines, the country is poised to increase production and expand its mining sector, creating jobs and boosting the local economy. The military's success in reclaiming the gold mines also represents a broader victory for Africa as a whole. Burkina Faso's ability to regain control of its resources is a powerful example of what can happen when African nations take decisive action to protect their wealth and sovereignty. The situation in Burkina Faso has highlighted the need for African nations to take control of their own resources and ensure that their wealth benefits their people, not foreign corporations or terrorist groups. As we look forward, the implications of Burkina Faso's success go far beyond the country's borders. The lessons learned from Burkina Faso's efforts to combat terrorism, reclaim its gold resources, and invest in self-sufficiency can serve as a model for other African nations facing similar challenges. President Traoré's leadership has proven that with the right determination and strategy, even the most difficult challenges can be overcome. Burkina Faso's military operations and economic resurgence are a testament to the resilience and strength of the Burkinabe people, and they serve as an inspiration for all of Africa. The fight for Burkina Faso's gold is far from over, but with each victory, the country is taking another step toward achieving true economic and political independence. This isn't just about Burkina Faso, this is about Africa's future, and Burkina Faso is leading the way. Stay with us as we continue to explore how President Traoré's bold actions are reshaping Burkina Faso and Africa's future. The journey is only just beginning, and the world is watching as Burkina Faso defies the odds and takes control of its destiny. The transformation taking place in Burkina Faso is nothing short of extraordinary. What began as a struggle to reclaim the country's natural resources has now evolved into a full-scale economic and political renaissance. Under President Ibrahim Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso is not only fighting back against foreign exploitation and terrorism but is also laying the groundwork for a new, self-sufficient economy. The fight to control the country's gold resources was just the beginning. As Burkina Faso continues to gain control over its mining industry, it is also taking bold steps to secure its future by diversifying its economy and building a foundation of resilience that will benefit generations to come. In recent months, the Burkinabe government has made significant strides toward economic diversification. While gold remains the country's top export, President Traoré has emphasized the importance of developing other industries, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and technology. The idea is simple: Burkina Faso cannot rely solely on one resource to sustain its economy. By investing in other sectors, the country can build a more stable and resilient economic future that is less vulnerable to fluctuations in global gold prices. One of the key areas of focus for the government has been agriculture. As one of the world's largest producers of cotton, Burkina Faso has the potential to significantly increase its agricultural output and create more value from its crops. By modernizing agricultural practices, investing in irrigation, and improving access to markets, the country can reduce its dependency on gold and create a more balanced, sustainable economy. But it doesn't stop there. President Traoré understands that technological innovation will be crucial to the country's future success. Burkina Faso has already made significant progress in developing its own technologies, and the government is committed to fostering a culture of innovation that will drive future growth. By supporting local startups, investing in education, and encouraging research and development, Burkina Faso is positioning itself to become a leader in African innovation. The goal is to create a knowledge-driven economy that is powered by technology and local expertise. This is a vision that goes beyond gold and beyond any single resource. It's a vision of a prosperous, self-sufficient Burkina Faso that doesn't just rely on its natural wealth but creates value from its people's skills, ideas, and innovations. In parallel with these efforts, the government is working to strengthen its infrastructure. Roads, energy supply, water systems, these are the foundations of any thriving economy, and President Traoré has made improving Burkina Faso's infrastructure a top priority. As the country continues to rebuild and modernize, it will become more attractive to both domestic and foreign investors, which will further drive growth and development. But none of this would be possible without the determination and resilience of the Burkinabe people. Despite the challenges the country has faced, political instability, security threats, economic hardships, the people of Burkina Faso have shown remarkable strength. They have supported President Traoré's vision for a self-sufficient, sovereign country, and they are playing a key role in the country's transformation. As Burkina Faso rebuilds its economy, it is also rebuilding its sense of national pride. The success of the gold factory, the reclamation of the country's gold resources, and the diversification of its economy are all symbolic of the nation's journey from dependence to independence. Burkina Faso is no longer a country that relies on foreign aid or foreign corporations to survive. It is now a country that is taking control of its destiny and using its wealth, both human and natural, to build a brighter future. The impact of these changes is already being felt across the country. The creation of jobs, the improvement of infrastructure, and the growth of new industries are all contributing to a better standard of living for the people of Burkina Faso. And as the country continues to grow and diversify its economy, the opportunities for future generations will be limitless. The rest of Africa is watching closely as Burkina Faso embarks on this remarkable journey. The lessons learned from the country's transformation, how to reclaim resources, how to diversify the economy, and how to build self-sufficiency, are ones that other nations can learn from. Burkina Faso is proving that with the right leadership and a clear vision, it's possible to break free from the chains of exploitation and build a prosperous, self-sustaining future. As we look to the future, the road ahead for Burkina Faso is full of potential. With its gold revolution setting the stage for broader economic reforms, the country is poised for a bright future, one where it can stand tall on its own and serve as a model for other nations in Africa. Burkina Faso is no longer just a country that produces gold, it is a nation that is reclaiming its sovereignty, rebuilding its economy, and redefining its future. And this is only the beginning. Stay with us as we continue to explore how Burkina Faso is leading the way for Africa's transformation. The future is bright, and the world is watching as Burkina Faso shows what's possible when a nation takes control of its destiny. Burkina Faso's journey to economic and political independence has been nothing short of transformative. What started as a fight for control over natural resources, particularly gold, has now evolved into a complete reclamation of the country's sovereignty. The nation is no longer just a passive player in the global economy but a strong, self-sufficient force to be reckoned with. With the gold revolution serving as the cornerstone of this transformation, Burkina Faso has not only taken control of its wealth but is also building the foundation for a robust, diversified economy that will stand the test of time. The establishment of the Burkina Faso Gold Factory, the first locally produced gold bars, and the inauguration of the national gold refinery are just the beginning. President Ibrahim Traoré's vision of a fully sovereign Burkina Faso is unfolding with each passing day, and the implications for the country's future are monumental. But perhaps the most significant achievement is not just the control of gold, it's the empowerment of the people. Burkina Faso's progress is a direct result of the people's resilience and their unwavering belief in their country's potential. Despite years of exploitation, instability, and insecurity, the people of Burkina Faso have stood by President Traoré's leadership and have supported the country's ambitious goals. Their participation in the country's economic revival, from working in the gold factories to developing local technology, is the driving force behind this movement. For the first time, the wealth generated by the nation's resources will directly benefit its citizens. The gold that was once sent abroad to foreign companies for processing will now stay in Burkina Faso, providing jobs, fueling development, and strengthening the country's economy. The government's move to diversify the economy beyond gold, with a focus on agriculture, manufacturing, and technology, is positioning Burkina Faso for long-term success. These efforts will not only create a more balanced and resilient economy but will also reduce the country's reliance on a single resource, making it less vulnerable to global market fluctuations. The country's commitment to technological innovation is another key factor in its journey toward complete sovereignty. The investment in local industries and the development of homegrown technologies are allowing Burkina Faso to leapfrog traditional barriers to development. It's not just about extracting resources, it's about adding value to those resources, creating sustainable industries, and ensuring that the wealth generated by the country's resources stays within its borders. By investing in infrastructure, education, and human capital, President Traoré is laying the groundwork for a self-sufficient, prosperous future that will benefit the next generation. As Burkina Faso continues to reclaim its wealth and resources, the country is also reclaiming its place on the global stage. The success of the gold revolution has put Burkina Faso on the map as a leader in Africa's fight for economic independence. Other nations across the continent are watching closely, learning from Burkina Faso's example, and seeing what is possible when a country takes charge of its destiny. In a world where African nations have long struggled to break free from the chains of colonial exploitation, Burkina Faso's success is a powerful symbol of hope and possibility. The story of Burkina Faso is not just the story of one country, it's the story of Africa's future. It's a story of resilience, self-reliance, and the determination to control one's own resources and destiny. As the country moves forward, President Traoré's leadership and vision for a sovereign, self-sufficient Burkina Faso will continue to inspire nations across Africa to follow in its footsteps. The final step in this revolution is complete control over all of Burkina Faso's resources, ensuring that every ounce of wealth generated stays in the country, contributing to its economic growth, infrastructure, and long-term prosperity. With each step forward, Burkina Faso is not just securing its own future but is helping to shape the future of Africa as a whole. This journey is far from over, but the country is already reaping the rewards of its bold decisions. Burkina Faso is showing the world that it is possible to reclaim a nation's wealth, rebuild an economy, and redefine a country's future. And as we reach the end of this journey, one thing is clear: Burkina Faso's best days are yet to come. This is not just the end of one chapter, it's the beginning of an entirely new era for the country and for Africa. The world is watching as Burkina Faso takes its place as a leader in Africa's economic renaissance. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. The rise of Burkina Faso is a testament to the power of self-reliance, sovereignty, and the unwavering will to create a brighter future. The revolution is far from over, and it's only getting started. This is Burkina Faso's time. The world is watching, and Africa is rising.